Hello there. Sometimes in your life you wake up and you're excited to be alive. You can feel all of the awesome things waiting for you in the future, and you can't wait to live into them. When you think about the future, your heart opens to welcome it. Just think of the last time you fell in love or got accepted to that job or that school that you so desperately wanted to be accepted to. We all wish this was the only reality in life, and yet we know it's not. All too often, we have the opposite experience as well. We feel terror about the future. When we look into it, there's nothing but things that are going to go wrong and no way to prevent that. Just think of the last time you lost someone you loved, or lost a relationship, or got fired. You feel doom. You perceive only bad things ahead of you, things you are desperate not to experience. When you think of the life ahead of you, your heart closes. The more objective truth of this universe is that time does not exist. Or that is to say that they coexist simultaneously, past, present, and future, in a kind of vibrational soup. But the minute that you are perceiving linear time, you are engaged in a third-dimensional construct. When you look at time in this way, it is easy to think you have no capacity to change the past, or that the future is decided like fate. Before you continue with the rest of this video, if you haven't done so already, I highly suggest that you watch my video on YouTube titled The Future. In that video, I explain how the future really works. Knowing this information can take you a long way towards feeling better about the future. At the heart of the fear of the future is a feeling of utter powerlessness, wanting things that you don't feel like you can have, or not wanting things that you feel are inevitable. So, what should you do if you fear the future? Step 1. Oh my gosh, be easy on yourself. Nobody has these fears for no reason whatsoever. They don't just wake up one day with them. They're always the result of past experiences. Your fears of the future are actually fears of the past. There is a reason that a baby does not feel fear in an airplane when it's going through turbulence, or doesn't fear falling downstairs. It's because the baby has never experienced a trauma that causes those fears. Think about your own life. You didn't fear romantic relationships until your first one ended painfully. People who fear the future have experienced something painful in the past, and usually recently. And it is that past pain which is making them terrorized that they're going to potentially experience it again. So the first step in overcoming your fear of the future is to address the pain. Not the pain you think is coming in the future, but the pain that has come in the past that is causing you to project that into the future. I actually created a process for this. It's called the completion process. So if you're interested in learning this process, you can buy my book that's quite literally titled The Completion Process, which details this completely in depth. I also suggest that you watch my video on YouTube titled Meaning, the Self-Destruct Button, because it is the meaning we add to a painful experience that so often colors our future black. Step 2. When you are fearing the future, what it means is you're projecting yourself way, way, way too far into the future, into a place where you can't even see the things that are around you, so you can't understand how what you see in the future is going to happen. If you're the kind of person who's prone to worry, you try to prevent pain by trying to figure out everything you can in advance. The problem with this is that you can't see most of the things that will be available to you at the time you're worrying about. Here's how it works. From your perspective, what it's going to seem like coming down into life and sorting through the problems of your life is like the universe has a great big puzzle, and you don't know what that puzzle is supposed to make, what picture comes out of it when you put all the pieces together, because you don't have the box. And the universe keeps giving you these pieces of the puzzle slowly and incrementally. So it's almost like the picture of the full puzzle piece doesn't come into play until you get those new pieces and put them in the puzzle. So basically what you're doing when you're worrying about the future and terrified about it, and you can't figure out how things are going to work out, so you can avoid something that's painful or get something you want, is that you try to figure out the puzzle and put it together before the universe has even delivered those pieces to you. That is why you feel so powerless from where you are. You project yourself into what needs to happen but can't figure out how it can happen because those puzzle pieces that spell out the how have not yet arrived. For example, let's say that we know we have to move to another country. From where we are, we feel like this is impossible because we do not have some of the elements that will make this possible. We do not yet see the person who we will meet or the opportunity we will be presented with that will make it possible. So if you're feeling hopeless about the future, what it is that you're trying to arrange this puzzle of your life without the universe having delivered you all the pieces of that puzzle yet. So what I want you to do is to just put the brakes on and make it about your sense of feeling just a little bit better right here in the present moment. Do what you can from where you are with what you have, and that really is enough. Focus on what will make you feel alive and connected and good right here and now. Step 3, sit down and make a list deliberately of the things you look forward to in the future. This is an amazing antidote for the feeling of doom. And I want you to write anything on this list, big or small, that makes you feel good about moving forward. For example, you can write things as little as eating an avocado toast or watching a movie today, to things as big as earning a PhD or becoming enlightened. If you have friends or a group of people, it can be super awesome to collectively create a list like this. You can't imagine how much better other people make you feel about the future by enrolling you in their own idea of what to look forward to. Step 4, do a visualization of the future. A fear of the future is really just a fear of an image that you've conjured in your head, nothing more. So what does this mean? You can remedy through an image in your head. So what I want you to do is to sit down as if you're in meditation, but consciously visualize for no more than 8 minutes what your life looks like 2 years into the future if everything was exactly how you wanted it. I don't want you to do more than 2 years because usually more than 2 years feels inaccessible and not real to people. So 2 years into the future, who is there with you in the perfect scenario? Where are you? What do you feel like? What do you have? Make this visualization as realistic as you possibly can so you're getting really, really involved in it. Step 5, acknowledge that you cannot actually know with 100% accuracy, with no doubt, what is going to happen. So you can't know that something terrible will in fact happen. And more than that, you can't know if something bad that happens doesn't have some sort of element to it that is a blessing in disguise. So look back at your life at 2 different things. The first is the times you thought something horrible would happen, but it didn't. And the second is the times that something bad happened that actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise. This acknowledgement can release your conviction that something bad will happen and thus change the way you feel and raise your frequency. Step 6, recognize that fear of the future is really just a fear of feeling, and not just a fear of feeling anything, a fear of feeling feelings you've felt before. It isn't the circumstance itself that is causing you pain, it's how that circumstance makes you feel. If you're afraid of the future, you're essentially saying, I can't bear to feel that way, and I think I'll feel that way, so I have to prevent ever feeling that way. Because we fear the future based off of what we've experienced in the past, we're really saying, I can't bear to feel that way ever again. It's not about the feelings you're yet to have, it's about the ones you already had and feel like you couldn't cope with. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what to be afraid of. Ask yourself, how is it okay to feel? How could I cope differently with feeling the way I'm afraid to feel in case I feel it again? Step 7. Imagine that the part of you that fears the future is not all of you. It is a part of you. Close your eyes and visualize this you within you who fears the future. Imagine picking up this fearful self in your arms and loving him or her, caring for him or her, and having a conversation with him or her to soothe their worries, meet their needs, and let them know that you will not leave them. You will always be there in charge of their well-being so they can relax and just let you handle it. This very simple disidentification exercise can go a long way for decreasing your fear of the future, in having access to the aspect of you that's not as fearful of the future, that's capable very much so of moving forward, even with that aspect of you that is in pain. Step 8. If you currently feel doom, or if you chronically feel worry about the future, I want you to watch 3 of my videos. The first one is titled How to Stop Worrying. The second, How to Deal with Uncertainty. And the third, How to Stop Expecting the Worst. I'm aware that in this video I've asked you to watch a lot of other videos which lend themselves to this concept of feeling better about the future. I've done this for a very important reason. When you're in a state of terror, your body and your brain shut down. And so the likelihood of you being able to sit down and do an exercise to get yourself out of fear is, let's say, more difficult. And so what I do know is that if you sit down and you do nothing more than to just focus on listening to these videos and do none of the exercises they suggest, it will increase your frequency, and just by virtue of watching them, you will feel better about the future. So don't be afraid to do that. Living life at the mercy of your past pain, which is what is happening if you are fearing the future, is painful. It is not a state which I would wish anyone to experience. And there are many remedies for this, many that I have created even. But you should know that just because you have experienced something in the past doesn't mean you're going to experience it again. Just because you've gone through something painful doesn't mean that same painful thing awaits you in your future. Have a good week.